Welcome back on Tales of the Dark. This time, we have 6 railway horror stories. Warning, warning, don't watch this if you are alone, especially if you're near a station at night, because some trains don't follow schedules. Story 1, the train that wasn't on the schedule. I wasn't supposed to be there that late. My shift ended earlier than usual and I missed my regular train home, so I had no choice but to wait. The station was almost empty, not completely, but quiet enough that every sound felt louder than it should. A single flickering light above the platform, a vending machine humming in the corner, and somewhere far down the tracks a metallic echo. I checked the digital board, only one train left, scheduled in about 20 minutes. I sighed and sat down on the bench, pulled my jacket tighter. The cold felt different that night, not just temperature. It felt like it was coming from the tracks, like something beneath them was breathing. I shook it off, looked at my phone, no signal. Great. I leaned back, closed my eyes for a second. And that's when the board flickered. I opened my eyes, looked up again. There was something new. A train number I didn't recognize, no destination, no arrival time, just one word, arriving. My chest tightened slightly. That's weird. I stood up, walked closer to the board. Maybe it was a glitch, but the text didn't change, still there, still blinking faintly. Arriving, I looked down the tracks, dark, nothing coming. Then I heard it, a train approaching, but something about it felt off immediately. It was too quiet, no screeching metal, no loud rumble. Just a low, distant hum, like it wasn't fully there yet. I stepped back instinctively. The other person on the platform, the man sitting far away, he stood up too. But he didn't look surprised. He looked tense, like he was expecting it. The train slowly came into view. No headlights, that's what I noticed first. Every train has headlights, but this one didn't. It just slid out of the darkness, silent, wrong, and stopped in front of the platform. The doors opened, no announcement, no sound, just open. I looked inside. At first, I thought it was empty. But then I saw them, passengers, sitting perfectly still. Rows of them, all facing forward, none of them moving, none of them talking, not even blinking. My stomach dropped. What the hell? I glanced at the man on the platform. He was staring at the train, frozen. Then he slowly shook his head, like he had seen this before, like he knew something I didn't. My phone buzzed. I flinched, looked down, unknown number, one message, don't get on that one. I looked back up immediately. The train was still there, doors open, waiting, and then every single passenger inside turned their heads at the exact same time and looked straight at me. I felt my body lock up. They weren't just looking, they were focused, like they had been waiting for me specifically. The man on the platform whispered, "Don't move," but I couldn't. Because something inside me was pulling me forward. One step, then another, closer to the train, closer to the open door. The air changed. Colder, heavier, like the moment I crossed that invisible line I wouldn't come back. The passengers didn't blink, didn't breathe, just watched. And then one of them smiled, slow, unnatural, and raised a hand, not waving, not greeting, inviting. I stopped right at the edge, my heart pounding, my instincts screaming at me to step back, but something else, something quieter, was telling me to get on. And just as I leaned slightly forward, the message came again, "If you get on, you won't remember getting off." I froze, and that's when I noticed something that made everything worse. The reflection in the train window wasn't mine. Someone was already standing inside, right where I was about to step, facing me, waiting. Some trains arrive, some trains depart, but the worst ones stay longer than they're supposed to. Train story 2, the last train doesn't stop. I didn't get on that train. I swear I didn't. The moment I saw that reflection, someone already standing where I should have been. I stepped back hard. The cold air snapped around me. The passengers inside didn't move, didn't react, but I felt it, something shift, like I had made the wrong choice, or maybe delayed the right one. The doors closed, still no sound, and the train began to move, slow, silent, until it disappeared back into the darkness it came from. Just like that, it was gone. The digital board flickered again. The unknown train number disappeared, back to normal, like nothing had happened. I stood there for a while trying to process it. What the hell was that? The man who had been sitting on the platform was gone, no footsteps, no exit, just gone, and suddenly the station felt even emptier than before. Then my phone buzzed again, another message, same unknown number. "You'll see it again." My stomach dropped. "No, I won't," I muttered. But deep down I wasn't sure. A few minutes passed. The real last train arrived. This one was normal, loud, bright, announced properly. Passengers got on and off like usual. Everything felt real again. I got on. I didn't want to stay there any longer. I picked a seat near the middle of the carriage, sat down, tried to calm my breathing. "It's over," I told myself, "just a weird glitch, weird night, that's all." The train doors closed. It started moving. Everything felt normal again until it didn't. Because the train didn't leave the station. Not really, it moved, yes, but outside the platform didn't disappear. It stayed, sliding past the window but never fully leaving, like we were stuck beside it. I frowned. What? I looked around, no one else seemed to notice. Passengers were on their phones, talking quietly, normal, too normal. I looked back outside, same bench, same flickering light, same empty platform, repeating over and over again. My chest tightened. No, not again. The train should have been miles away by now, but it was still there. Still passing the same platform, looping just like the road. I stood up, walked toward the door, pressed the emergency button. Nothing happened, no alarm, no response, like the system wasn't connected to anything. I stepped back slowly. That's when the lights flickered, once, twice, then went dim. A low hum filled the carriage, different from before, deeper, unnatural. The passengers stopped talking, not all at once, but one by one, until the entire carriage was silent. I looked around. They were all sitting still now, too still, just like the ones from the first train. My heart started pounding. No, I backed away slowly, and that's when I noticed something. The driver's cabin door was open. That shouldn't happen ever. I stepped closer, hesitated, then looked inside. Empty, no driver, no controls moving. Nothing. The train was running itself. My breathing got heavier. "This isn't real." Then the speaker turned on, static, then a voice. "Final stop." I froze. That wasn't the driver. It sounded wrong, like multiple voices layered together, distorted. "This is the final stop." But we hadn't gone anywhere. We were still looping the same platform. "Do not leave your seat." The passengers didn't react, didn't even blink. They were already doing exactly that. "Do not look outside." My heart skipped. Slowly I turned my head and looked anyway. At first nothing, just the platform, then movement, something running alongside the train. Keeping pace perfectly, too fast, too smooth. It wasn't human, its body was wrong, too tall, too stretched. And its head was turned toward me, even while running forward, watching me. The lights flickered again. The thing outside got closer, closer to the window. I stepped back. No, no, no. Then the train slowed, stopped. The doors opened, but this time we weren't at the station. We were somewhere else, dark, no platform, just tracks stretching into nothing, and the voice came again. "You can get off now." No one moved, except me, because something inside me was pulling me toward the door, the same feeling as before, the same pull. Like this was where I was supposed to go. I reached the edge, looked down. There was no ground, just darkness, endless, waiting. Then a reflection appeared in the glass. Not mine, someone standing behind me. Close, too close, and a whisper followed. "You should have taken the first train. Some passengers sit beside you, but some only exist where you can't touch them." Train story 3, the passenger in the reflection. I didn't step off the train, not completely. The moment I looked down and saw nothing but darkness, I stepped back, hard. The doors stayed open, waiting, like they knew I would hesitate. The whisper behind me faded, but the feeling didn't. That same pull, that same quiet pressure in my chest. Like I had just missed something important. The doors slowly closed, and the train started moving again. This time the outside changed. No more platform, no more station, just darkness, endless, no lights, no buildings, nothing. I stumbled back to my seat, breathing heavier now. "This isn't real," I whispered. But the words felt weak, because everything around me felt too consistent to be a dream. The hum of the train, the vibration under my feet, the dim flickering lights above, it all felt intentional. I sat down slowly, and that's when I felt it, the shift beside me. Like someone had just taken a seat. I froze. I hadn't heard the door open. Hadn't seen anyone move. Slowly, I turned my head. The seat next to me was empty. I stared at it for a few seconds. "Okay," I muttered, trying to calm myself. Then I looked forward again and saw it in the window. A reflection, someone sitting beside me, clear, perfectly visible, but not there. My chest tightened instantly. I turned back to the seat, still empty. I looked at the window again, still there, sitting close, too close, facing forward, not moving. My breathing started to shake. No, I slowly leaned forward, trying to change the angle, trying to break the reflection, but it didn't change. The figure stayed exactly the same, like it wasn't tied to the light, like it wasn't a reflection at all. Then it moved just slightly. Its head turned slowly until it was facing me, in the reflection but not in real life. I jerked back, heart pounding. What the hell? The rest of the passengers still weren't moving, still sitting perfectly still, like none of this was happening. Then the reflection smiled, not wide, not exaggerated, just enough to feel wrong, because the face was mine. My stomach dropped. That's not me, but it was. Same features, same eyes, same expression, except for one thing, it didn't blink. I stared at it, frozen, waiting for it to stop, waiting for it to break. But it didn't. Instead, it leaned closer, closer to me, even though the seat beside me was still empty. And then it spoke without opening its mouth. The voice came from everywhere. "You're almost there." My hands clenched into fists. "Almost where?" I whispered. The reflection tilted its head. "You've already seen it." My mind raced. The first train, the looping platform, the darkness outside. "No," the reflection's smile widened slightly. "You just don't remember stopping." My chest tightened. "Stopping where?" No answer. Instead, the lights flickered hard. The entire carriage went dark for a second, then came back, and the seat beside me was no longer empty. There was someone sitting there now, not a reflection, real, solid, facing forward, wearing the same clothes as me, same posture, same breathing. I turned slowly. "What are you?" It didn't move, didn't respond, just sat there. Then it blinked once, slow, and turned its head toward me and whispered, "You missed your stop." The train jerked suddenly. Lights flickered again and the speaker turned on. "This is the final stop." My heart started racing. No, not again. The doors opened. I looked outside, darkness again, but this time something was different. There were shapes, figures standing in the distance, waiting, still, watching. And the person beside me, my reflection, stood up, turned toward the door, then looked back at me, and said something that made everything connect. "You get off here every time. Some tunnels are just darkness, a brief moment between two places, but some tunnels don't lead anywhere at all." Train story 4, the tunnel that took too long. I didn't follow it, not immediately. The version of me, the one that stood up and walked toward the open doors, felt too calm, too certain, like it had done this before. I stayed frozen in my seat, watching it, watching myself. It stepped out of the train into the darkness, and for a second, I thought it would disappear, but it didn't. It just stood there, waiting. Then slowly it turned its head and looked back at me. Even from that distance, I could see its expression clearly. That same small smile, that same unblinking stare. Then the doors closed, cutting it off, leaving me inside, alone again. The train started moving, and this time it didn't stay in the open. It entered a tunnel. At least that's what it felt like, because everything outside turned black, completely black, not night, not shadow, just absence. The lights inside flickered, once, twice, then steadied. I leaned back slowly, trying to control my breathing. "This will end," I whispered. "It has to." But deep down, I knew that wasn't true, because nothing had ended so far. Everything just continued. The train moved deeper into the darkness. Minutes passed, then more, too many. I checked my phone, no signal, no time update. The screen was frozen like everything else. Then I noticed something. The passengers, they weren't the same anymore, not exactly. I scanned the carriage slowly. Faces looked familiar, but not from earlier, from somewhere else, from before the platform. The first train, even the one I saw in the reflection, they were all here now, sitting in different seats, in different positions, but I knew them, and somehow they knew me, because one by one they started turning their heads, slowly, not at the same time, but in sequence, like a wave, until every single one of them was looking at me. I stood up immediately. No, no, this isn't happening. My voice echoed strangely, too loud, like the train wasn't containing the sound properly. Then the lights flickered again, and everything went dark, complete darkness for a second. Then the lights came back, and everyone was in a different seat, my breath caught in my throat. What the hell? I looked around, trying to understand, trying to make sense of it, but nothing made sense anymore, because I hadn't seen anyone move, no footsteps, no sound, just darkness. And change, and then I saw it, one seat near the end of the carriage, that hadn't been occupied before. Now it was, someone was sitting there still, facing forward, wearing something dark. I stared at it. Who is that? No one responded. The rest of the passengers had gone still again, like before, like they were no longer part of this. Only that figure mattered now. I took a step forward, slow, careful. The train hummed deeper, louder, like it was reacting to my movement. I took another step. The figure didn't move, didn't react. Just sat there waiting. Then the speaker turned on again, static, then that same layered voice. This stop is not yours. I froze. What? This stop is not yours. The figure at the end of the carriage slowly tilted its head, like it was listening too. Then it stood up too tall. That's the first thing I noticed. It stood up too tall for the train. Its head almost touched the ceiling. Its posture was wrong, bent slightly, like its body didn't fit where it was. I stepped back instinctively. No, stay back. It didn't listen. It started walking toward me, slow, each step silent, too smooth, and with every step the lights flickered. On, off, getting closer, closer. My heart was pounding now. Stop, I shouted. It didn't, it just kept coming. Then the train started slowing down. The darkness outside shifted. Shapes forming again, figures standing beside the tracks, watching, waiting. The doors opened. The voice came again. You may exit now. The thing stopped right in front of me, close enough that I could see its face, or what should have been a face, but there was nothing. Just a blank shifting surface, like it hadn't decided what to look like yet. Then it leaned closer and whispered, "This time you stay. Some trains follow routes, some follow time, but the worst ones follow you." Train story 5, the train that only comes once. I didn't move, not when it told me to stay, not when the doors opened, not even when the figures outside started getting closer, because something inside me finally understood. This wasn't random. None of it was. The first train, the looping platform, the reflection, the tunnel. It wasn't separate events, it was one process, one continuous loop, and I had been inside it the whole time. The tall figure in front of me didn't touch me. It didn't need to, because I was already where it wanted me, exactly where I had always been. The speaker crackled again. "This train does not return." My throat went dry. Then why am I still here? No answer. Instead, the passengers began to move, not like before, not slow, not delayed, perfectly synchronized. They all stood up at the same time, every single one of them, and turned toward the doors, facing the darkness outside, waiting like they were being called. The tall figure stepped aside, giving me a clear view of the exit, of what was waiting beyond it. The shapes outside weren't just standing anymore, they were clearer now, human, or at least they used to be. Their bodies looked wrong, stretched, distorted, like something had reshaped them. But their faces were familiar, too familiar, because they looked like the passengers inside, the same people, just changed. My chest tightened. They got off. The realization hit hard. They didn't disappear. They didn't leave. They became something else, something that waited for the next ones, the next passengers, the next loop. The voice came again. "This is the final stop." The passengers started walking. One by one they stepped off the train, into the darkness, and as they did, their shapes shifted, changed, became like the ones waiting outside. I backed away. "No, I'm not going out there." The tall figure tilted its head. "You already did." My heart stopped. "What?" It stepped closer again, not threatening, not aggressive, just certain. "You just don't remember yet." My mind raced. The reflection, the version of me that stepped off earlier, the one I watched leave, that wasn't just a vision, that was me, a previous loop, a previous ending. And this was just the moment before it happened again. I looked at the doors. Only a few passengers left now, still walking, still changing, still becoming something else. "How do I stop this?" I whispered. The figure didn't answer, because deep down I already knew you don't stop it, you complete it. The train suddenly jerked, the lights flickered violently, and the entire carriage went dark again, this time longer, too long. When the lights came back, I was standing at the door. I hadn't moved, at least I didn't remember moving, but I was there, looking out into the darkness. The figures outside were closer now, waiting, expecting me. The tall figure stood behind me and whispered one final time, "You always hesitate here." My breathing slowed, not because I was calm, but because something inside me had stopped resisting. Like I had reached the same point too many times, like my mind was tired of fighting it. I stepped forward just slightly, and as I did, something changed. The darkness outside wasn't empty anymore, it was full of shapes, full of people watching, waiting, and then I saw it. One of them standing closer than the rest, looking directly at me, clearer than the others. More defined, and when I focused, my stomach dropped completely because it was me, not the reflection, not the version from before, something else, something that had already been out there, waiting, watching for this exact moment, and it smiled, the same way I had seen before. The same way I knew I would, because this wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last. I stepped off the train, and the moment my foot touched the darkness, the train doors slammed shut behind me. The lights inside flickered one last time, and through the window, I saw someone new sitting in my seat, frozen, confused, breathing fast, exactly like I had been. The train began to move, slow, silent, and as it disappeared into the darkness, I understood everything. The train doesn't take you somewhere, it replaces you, and the next time it arrives, someone else will be standing on that platform, reading a board that says "Arriving." Some stories end when you leave, some end when you understand, but the worst ones don't end at all. Train Story 6, The Platform That Waits. I don't know how long I stood there after the train left. Time didn't feel normal anymore. There was no sky, no sound, no sense of distance, just the platform and the others. They didn't move, not at first, just stood there facing the tracks, waiting. I tried to speak. "Hello," my voice came out wrong, like it didn't belong to me anymore. No one answered, but slowly one of them turned, then another, then all of them, and I realized something immediately. They weren't looking at me as a stranger. They were looking at me like I had just arrived, like I had finally taken my place. I stepped back instinctively. "I'm not staying here," I said, but the moment I said it, the ground beneath me felt unstable, like I wasn't fully part of it yet. Like something was still deciding where I belonged. One of the figures stepped closer. Its movement was smoother than before, less distorted, more complete. "You said that before." My chest tightened. "Before what?" It tilted its head. "Before you got on." I froze. That didn't make sense. "I never got on that first train." A pause, then more movement behind it, the others shifting, making space, and revealing something behind them. Another platform, not identical but familiar, a flickering light, a bench, a digital board. My stomach dropped. No, the board flickered, and then it displayed something, not a time, not a destination, just one word. Arriving. My breathing got heavier. That's not possible, but it was, because I could see it clearly now. Another version of me, standing on that platform, looking at the board, confused, exactly like I had been. Exactly like I always was. I stepped closer. "Hey," but the moment I tried to call out, no sound came. Like I wasn't allowed to interact, like I wasn't part of that side anymore. The figure next to me spoke again. "You don't go back." I looked at it. "Then what is that?" It didn't answer immediately. "Then, that's where you start again." The realization hit slowly, painfully. That wasn't another place, that wasn't another person, that was the beginning, the same beginning, repeating over and over again. And I wasn't watching it, I was remembering it. The train in the distance appeared again. Silent, wrong, moving toward the platform, the same one I had seen before, the same one I had almost stepped into. I turned away. I'm not doing this again, but something inside me shifted, not fear, not panic, recognition. Like my body already knew what came next. The figures around me stepped back, giving me space, not forcing, just waiting, because they didn't need to push me. The loop would. The train reached the platform, doors opened. Passengers inside, still, silent, watching, and I saw it. One seat empty. Waiting for me, the version of me on the other platform stepped forward, closer to the door, hesitating just like I always did. I tried to look away, but I couldn't because I already knew what would happen. The message, the warning, the hesitation, and then the choice, the same choice, every time. And as I stood there watching it all repeat, I finally understood the worst part of all this. It's not a trap, it's not punishment, it's not even random, it's a system. And it doesn't need to catch you because eventually you walk into it yourself. The train doors stayed open, waiting, and somewhere far behind me another voice whispered, "Next arrival." If you are new here, subscribe to Tales of the Dark, where every story gives you a nightmare.